So Darwin was correct. About 80% of men being married, according to the CDC, 80% of men are married by 40. Here's the problem: when you get to black men, there's a serious fall off. Right? We're it gets a lot closer to half of men that are actually married by 40 when you're talking about black men. So those are the facts. Now, that being said, if you are a female, right, and you say every other guy is marriageable, then those are still decent options if you're intentional about it. The main issue that most women are having is they don't prioritize the marriage. And guess what? For some people, it's not a priority. And who are we to judge them for that? There's some people who just check out, or some people don't want to be married. That's fine. If you don't want to be married and it's not a priority for you, and the career is your priority, that's fine. But you just have to understand that if you wait too long, you can't want to be married and then move like that, right? Because for whatever reason, I said this a couple weeks ago, every other culture realizes that they can find a man in college, ring before spring, right? And they do it. And they don't ever say that, oh, I have to focus on my career. This is why we get back to the home girl I was talking about. Why are they getting these men? Because they start early enough and they don't quit their careers. Most people actually are working from a dual income. Most people have the dual income households. So it doesn't mean that two things can't be right at the same time. You can make your money, you can focus on your career. And if you have a husband who aligns with you, he's probably going to pour into you. You know how many people who were men, like I've poured into my wife, like, yo, you was doing your schooling. Let's get some books. Let's do it. I help with the studying. This is just what it is. Some people will help build you. It's going to make it easier. It's not going to be an obstacle. It's not going to be something that's worse for you. It's not going to be a worse situation. I mean, you might be looking at the wrong types of guys if you feel like it's going to be a worse situation. There's no reason why you can't get with a dude and it be easier because they're pouring into you. And if you focus on your career, that's something that they're going to understand. And another thing is, people, what Drake say, people make time for the things that they want.
Who
And
said I'm not focused? But it's
when
like at the end of the
Callie,
day, I'm
Callie,
on my path.
Callie,
Like,
we're not going on you. We're
but
not
you
going.
are. The
We're not
whole
going on.
chat is cooking me. Darwin just made it easy for everyone to say that I should be off of the panel, that I'm an L, the L black women. Look at what this does. Look at what this does. You have
Now
no
hold on, hold on.
idea
I
who I
wasn't,
am as a
I
person.
wasn't
Callie,
finished though.
can I just say
So
this to you?
Callie,
Can I just
you're
hold on,
taking
let
it,
me just say this to
you're
her.
taking it.
Let me just
Go
say this
ahead.
to her. I want to make sure we understand it's not easy to come on these panels. It's not easy to be vocal about your life. It's not easy to be as transparent as you are. I appreciate you coming up here consistently and saying and giving your piece and blessing us with your presence. We all go through things in life, and I know sometimes it gets harder. Some of these conversations might get harder in the moments. And I just want you to know that you appreciate it privately, publicly, and all the other in-betweens. So
So, so Callie, I just want you to understand this part. If you weren't on this panel tonight, I would likely be saying the same damn thing. Nothing is directed towards you. People have heard me with this rhetoric. People who understand and watch shows with me on it before. This is the same stance that I take pretty much every time. I don't switch up, and none of this is directed at anyone personally. When I feel something is wrong with a particular person, I direct them. I'm the type that's going to call you out by name. If I disagree with your point, I'll call your name. So while your point might be somewhat the opposite of mine, nothing that I'm saying here is directed towards you. This is women in general. In this particular case, we're talking about the failure of black families, whereas the men have to take some onus in what's going on as well. It's not just the females, because a lot of dudes ain't ready for marriage either, right? What the first thing that I started this with was to say that 50% of black men are not married. So we understand that we both have to take onus on this particular issue. It's not just women, it's men too. And there are things that men can do better. Men can get themselves set up better to be able to support a family. They have to be also marriage minded too. But the problem is slim pickings. If you don't have females who are ready because they want to focus on themselves and their careers. There are obviously some reasons that are valid in some cases, but what I'm here to say is that I don't believe that that's the majority of what we see going on a day-to-day basis. From what I see from people that I talk to, people who come and ask me for advice, or people that I see on a regular basis, I can easily pick apart or walk it down, like Sweeney would say, and figure out what is wrong with their particular issue. And I always say, well, damn, you could have did this instead, or why didn't you do that? Right? And it's the inability to self-reflect that's causing these failures, right? Everyone wants to say that, oh, this is a choice. But guess what? What happens is women don't age at the same rate as men, right? Even if you're saying biologically, maybe it's close. But what I'm saying is that the desirability is absolutely different, right? A man that's in his 40s, if I'm 45 right now, if I decided that I wanted to do a Shannon Sharp right now, I could. That's not my style, but it's a lot more difficult for women to do the same thing as they age. So with that strike against you, then you have to adapt and realize that it's competitive. And women don't prioritize it, and they don't feel like they need to be competitive most of the times. They think that a dude has to, like a person who they would perceive as high value has to pursue them. But it's actually the opposite way around. And if you want to be successful at marriage, then you have to approach it with that same energy that you would a career.
Yeah, it's just, we see this so much. And Callie, this isn't about this. It is actually, I'm gonna be honest with you, it is about you. And it is about someone we spoke to yesterday, Kimberly. It's about her. It's about a lot of women we done spoke to who prioritize, oh, I got to get this done first. I got to get this done first. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. And then marriage is an afterthought. But then we run into the women who done the same thing, who walk the same paths that we've seen a lot of women walk. And then they have the same questions at the end. Well, I'm doing like that one woman. I guarantee you, I don't know how old the woman that we reacted to is, but she had gray hair, so I'm assuming late 40s. I'm assuming she had the same mindset in her 20s and in her early 30s. Let me get this done. I'm gonna focus on this, and then after that, I'll go ahead and get married. Then I'll go and have the kids. And as crass as Bruiser was with it, all he's simply saying is you can do both. You can do both within the safety of a marriage. It's not one or the other. People do both all the time. I think, like Bruiser said, him and his wife did it at the same time. Me and my wife did it at the same time. I know a friend, him and his wife are both psychiatrists. Went and both of them got their doctorate. They were both married. They were both married 10 years ago. Just after their master's program, but they were together since her sophomore year in college. You don't have to put, oh, I got to do this first and then marriage. Oh, I got to do this first, then I can focus on men. I got to do this first, then I can focus on creating a family. It don't have to be that way, but that's what we run into. And it's not, and now I'm about to pull it away from y'all, take it away from y'all, ladies. In general, this is what we hear women teach other women. And I've seen fathers teach their daughters this. I've seen mothers teach their daughters this. Focus on your career. Focus on your money. Get what you got to get. And then oftentimes marriage is an afterthought. A husband, kids are an afterthought. Then next thing you know, when that girl is 30, 35 and she's focused on her career, now mama coming down asking her, where you going to make me some grandbabies? When you going to find you a husband? When you going to do this? And that's unfair to y'all that people have put that in y'all mind, that marriage had to be an afterthought to your career. It had to be an afterthought to your growth as a person. It doesn't. In fact, the most successful people, the people who find the most success, tend to be in marriages because there's safety in that. It's safety in having somebody that can pick up the slack when you don't have it. When, oh man, when you gotta go, when he's working and you can go to school. There's safety in that. There's safety in having somebody do life with you than to try to do it by yourself and then find somebody on the back end. I don't get why we keep. Go ahead.
Sweeney, I agree with that perspective, and I wasn't saying there was anything wrong with getting married while you're in school or what have you, but I was also saying that you cannot try to refine and dictate somebody's life or their decisions if you don't know their experience. And that was the main perspective that I was coming from. I agree with you that a lot of people get married in college and are very successful, but also if you were to get married and have kids and want to go into the Marines, it's a very hard task to be pregnant and going into the Marines. So that was kind of the idea that I was basing it around. There are some things that you may want to do in life that you cannot have a family attached to you. I can't dictate what it may be, but there are some things that you may want to get done. And considering the fact that Callie is still in her 20s and still has her youth, we can't we can't, address her experiences and what she's done in life and what she's accomplished yet, or what she still feels she needs to accomplish. Like she said,
See, I'm sorry. Callie's not in her 20s. She stated her age weeks ago. She's not in her 20s. She's in her
okay,
30s.
well, what have you? I'm still in my 20s, so I'll speak to that. But a lot of people have some things that they would like to get done in life that they cannot do while pregnant, and that's women specifically. And I think it's even less so about marriage and more so about the having kids and having a family part. And I think men can agree there are some things that you may have done in your life that you would not have been able to do with having a family attached to you, or some decisions that you've made in life that you would not have made had you had children. And I think that's the main perspective
Yeah,
on
and the
my
thing,
part.
yeah, and the thing is that that's why I said kind of take it away from y'all a little bit, because even like if I would, in those type of conversations, I would much rather people be honest when they say that, just simply say like, no, I'm not prioritizing marriage right now. It is an afterthought. That way we can dead it right there. But sometimes when people say, yeah, I care about marriage, I really care about it, I really
It's a
want to do it,
contradiction,
it's a
exactly.
living contradiction. So it
Well,
contradicts the conversation.
I think it became a battle when it was that. And she did say, hey, I'm not focused on marriage right now. Hey, that's not something that I'm doing right now. I'm focused on other things. And it was still you're struggling to get married, you're struggling to do this. And she stated, yes, I do want to get married later on or in some time, but that's not what I'm prioritizing right now. She stated that. She said she's prioritizing her career. And it was still a back and forth conversation about it's a struggle, it's a battle, it's a problem,
Well,
and she already clarified.
well, no. Now, once she clarified, he did change what he said. He said that's how it becomes a struggle, because it is a struggle once you admit, yes, I'm only prioritizing my career. Now that's a different conversation, because now at that point, once you admit that you're prioritizing your career, it then does become a struggle, because now you're expecting somebody to come because then right after somebody says that, we see the other side of it, where then you see women struggle with relationships later because they're trying to figure out, well, where did I go wrong at? That's why he kind of made the statement of, and that's the reason why it's going to be a struggle for you, is because we've seen this. We've seen many of women time and time again come up here and say the exact same thing. And what happens is later on down the line, you see the hiccups that they run into after the fact. And what he's just basically trying to do is get her to be mindful of, this will be a struggle that you're gonna deal with going forward when you're trying to find someone later on in life, is because you prioritized your career first. But when you do that and marriage is an afterthought, it becomes very difficult to find yourself in a marriage later.